Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a very short and sweet recap of the topic primary research. बहुत तेज़ी से हम primary research करेंगे. Excuse me. Primary research is a method of market research where a company uses its own resources to gather information on customers, competitors and the market. So basically primary research एक market research का तरीक़ा है जिसमें we basically try to gather information by using our own resources. Now either we could go and do research on our own by going into a particular sample or a particular representation of a population और उनसे सवाल पूछ के इस क्वेश्चनर भरा के सर्वे करके फोकस ग्रुप्स करके हम आंसर्स लें या we could hire a research agency. So what are the characteristics of primary research? The first characteristic is it is tailor-made to a business's needs. Business is specific. Businesses specific needs, tailor-made to a business's specific need which answers the required research question. जो भी हमारा research question है business का उस हवाले से हम अपना research को tailor कर सकते हैं, research को customize कर सकते हैं. The business has complete control over all aspects of the research. यानी कि ये जो research है ये पूरी तरीके से controlled है by the business. इसके अंदर business जो है वो क्या कर सकता है? Business can decide on the sample methods. It can decide, it can make its own questionnaire based on its budget and other considerations. Then it can decide how the research should be conducted, can decide how the research should be conducted. So these are the ways how a business can control the primary research process. And how do you actually do the primary research? So the first thing which you need to do in the primary research characteristics के अलावा, the thing which you need to do, the steps to do a market research is to first select a sample, because of course you cannot ask questions to the entire population. You would have to make a sample, which means that you would either have to do either of the two things. There are two ways you can do a sample. You can do a sample based on probability, and probability methods are those methods in which the people of a population have the same chance of being selected in the sample, right? And there is a a convenience non-probability, इसको कहते हैं non-probability sampling method. इसकी basis के ऊपर आप sampling कर सकते हैं. So these are the two ways of what you do. First you have to select the sample. It could be based on either of the two things. Then once you have done that, you decide on the questions which you need to ask, what you need to ask, and that could be designing the questionnaire, on how you want to designing the questionnaire. How do you actually want the questionnaire to come across as? क्या उसमें open-ended questions रखने हैं? Open-ended questions are those questions जिसके अंदर आप एक you are trying to find out the motive, जिसके अंदर कोई limit नहीं होती choices की, answers की. आप एक खुला paragraph दे देते हैं and you let the person write whatever he can in a specific word limit, of course. So open-ended questions, and they are basically designed to answer the why behind a particular action. And then close ended questions, and these are these can be mathematically and statistically analyzed, such as what is your favorite color, like how many times have you felt scared while watching a particular film, or like, you know, at what, so basically, and you could give a list of options 2, 3, 5 and 7, and based on that, so MCQs are examples of close-ended questions, yes or no questions are example of close-ended questions, and they are acha. So once you have done this and you have designed the questionnaire, then you actually do the questions, you ask the questions, and you do the actual research. So it is doing the research, asking the questions. And how you can do that? You can do that through surveys, one-on-one interviews. You can do that through a basis of focus group. You can arrange people. You can ask people from the sample come in, and you can ask particular questions in the group and see the responses and reactions. एक एग्जाम्पल जो फोकस ग्रुप की होती है उसको CLTs कहते हैं, which is customer limited trials. And what we do is, for example, if you want to find out the taste of a particular, what a person feels when he tastes an ice cream flavor for the first time, so we may want to do that in the form of a focus group, where we give people a sample of the ice cream to have, and then we look at the reactions. So this is the focus group. You can do interviews, you can do surveys, you can have surveys online. This is how you do the research. So what are the issues with primary research? The first of all, what you need to understand is that there are lots of ways this primary research can go wrong. So limitations हम देख लेते हैं जल्दी से, and I am, for the purpose of just being, you know, a little more dramatic, I am coloring limitations in the color of red. And the first thing what you have to understand is it is expensive. You are going to hire people to do research for you, either that, or for example, AC Nielsen is a retail research agency जो FMCG कंपनीज और दूसरी कंपनीज के लिए रिसर्च करती है, उनके ब्रांड के ट्रेंड्स जाके मालूम करती है और उनको बताती है कि आपकी दुकानों पर ये हो रहा है, कंज्यूमर की अब जो है वो प्रेफरेंस ये है, अब प्रेफरेंस हो है. सो इट इज़ एक्सपेंसिव बिकॉज दे वुड नीड टू हायर पीपल, दे वुड नीड टू हायर रिसोर्सेज, एंड दे आर गोइंग टू कम बैक टू यू. ईदर दैट, और व्हाट यू कुड डू इज़, इवन इफ यू गो आउट ऑन योर ओन in the market, then you would need to train people. That is going to result in cost. You would need to get people stationed at a particular place. You would need to set up spaces जहाँ के ऊपर वो बात कर सकें, वो वहाँ के ऊपर रिसर्च कर सकें, वो वहाँ के ऊपर इंटरव्यूज़ कर सकें. So maybe you will be hiring a hotel for that purpose, or a conference room, and that is expensive in its own right. Apart from being expensive, it is time consuming. First you decide on a particular thing, you decide on the research you want to do, then after the research you take the necessary precautions, you create the sample, you do the questionnaire, you go into the market, you do the actual research, and then you come back and you analyze it. And by the time you come back, maybe it is too late, and you know, trends may have changed, or if it is a fast paced industry, तो वो technological trend change हो चुका होगा जिसको आप पहले जाके explore करना चाह रहे थे in the first place. तो ये एक issue है इसके साथ. It is no guarantee that the product would not fail even after doing the research. There is no guarantee that the product is not going to fail. This is one of the limitations. दूसरी बात ये कि there are lots of ways, lots of errors in primary research which could undermine how the research is being done. For example, there could be something known as sampling bias, और इसको हम sampling के अंदर अच्छी तरीके से discuss करेंगे. लेकिन sampling bias is basically when your bias is not either representative or it is not random, like you have chosen it based on a particular convenience. आपको 10 लोग चाहिए थे जिनसे आपने सवाल करने थे, और बजाय इसके कि आप पूरे शहर में जाके लोगों से बात करते, आप अपने गली मोहल्ले में जाके आपने 10 ऐसी लोगों को चुन लिया. हो सकता है वो आपके रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पॉपुलेशन ही नहीं हो. आप करना चाह रहे थे द इफ़ेक्ट ऑफ एन एडवर्टाइजमेंट ऑन किड्स. फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स से सेफगार्ड कम्स अप विद अ न्यू कमांडर सेफगार्ड प्रोग्राम, एंड यू वांट टू सी द इफ़ेक्ट ऑफ दैट. और आपने ऐसे लोगों को, ऐसे बच्चों को अपनी गली से ले लिया जो आपको पता है कि वो कार्टून्स नहीं देखते, यू नो दिस, एंड दे हैव नेवर सीन इट, बट यू जस्ट वेंट टू देम एंड टॉक टू देम. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट वाज कन्वीनियंट, right? So there is a sampling bias. The other thing which could do is the issues with questionnaires, maybe with questionnaires. So the issue with questionnaires is that there could be leading questions. Leading questions are those questions where you try to get a particular response from person like आपको कौन सा मोबाइल पसंद है, ब्लैक या ब्लू. और उसमें सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आप अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि सामने वाले को मोबाइल पसंद है, राइट और आप ऑप्शंस और दे ही नहीं रहे, आप ये अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि बस सिर्फ दो मोबाइल्स हैं. तो जहाँ के ऊपर आप you're leading a person in choosing between one of the two options you want him to choose, that it may not be necessarily correct or accurate. So these are the issues which could make our primary research less effective and could really affect the way the primary research should be actually helpful to you. So this is how this mind map would look. We start off with primary research. इसकी definition दी हुई है blue में. Then we look at the characteristics. It is tailor-made. The business has complete control over all aspects of the research. Then how do you do it? You first create the sample, then you design the questionnaire, then you do the actual research. What are the limitations? It is expensive, it is time consuming, doesn't guarantee success. There could be sampling bias and issues with questionnaires, which means leading questions, unclear questions, or something like that. So I hope this was helpful. This is just one of the few videos on the topic. This is just to give you a recap. It would be great if you would go and read it from the actual chapter. Thank you. I hope this was helpful.